I was 6 months pregnant, and sleeping on the couch while my husband shared our bed with someone else. And no, it's not what you think. What actually happened will break your heart. I remember the moment our quiet life started to shift. I was 5 months pregnant, standing in our kitchen, feeling the soft flutters of our baby moving, and thinking, this is it. The moment I'd been waiting for. My husband and I had been trying for a while, and after months of tracking and hoping and praying, the test had finally come back positive. We were having our first child together. Our little family was just beginning. Back then, he was so attentive. He'd wake up early to make me breakfast before work. He'd come home and rub my swollen feet, whisper sweet nothings to my belly, already calling himself Dad. He was over the moon. We both were. We had names picked out. He'd read baby books out loud at night, and we'd daydream about nursery colors while watching old sitcoms on the couch. But all of that changed the night Ava arrived. I knew about her, of course. She's my husband's daughter from his first marriage, but I'd never met her, not once. His ex had full custody, and honestly, from the way he talked about it, I figured that's how it would always be. He wasn't allowed much access, and she lived in another city with her mom. We'd send birthday presents, a Christmas card, and that was the extent of it. So when she showed up at our front door with a small backpack and no warning, I was stunned. We both were. Apparently, her mom had gotten into a new relationship and decided to move out of state. Her new partner wasn't exactly interested in raising someone else's child, so Ava was left with her maternal grandparents, who, in turn, called us and said they couldn't handle it. Just like that, she was ours. No preparation, no discussion, just a knock on the door and suddenly, we weren't just expecting parents. We were instant full-time caregivers to a little girl I barely knew. My husband's face lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. I wish I could say I felt the same, but the truth is, I was overwhelmed and scared, not because of Ava herself, she was quiet and guarded at first, but because everything we had planned was shifting. The nursery? That room became Ava's bedroom overnight. The baby fund? Started getting dipped into for school supplies, clothes, kids' meals. I tried to keep up a good face. I really did. I helped decorate her room with puppy-themed bedding. I got her a nightlight. I even took her to the park and got her ice cream. I made her favorite foods when I could, tried to bond with her, but she didn't want any of it. She wouldn't eat anything I cooked, wouldn't say thank you, wouldn't speak to me unless she wanted something. And when she did want something, usually fast food, toys, or screen time, my husband would rush to give it to her, no matter how unreasonable. It was like watching someone try to win a prize at a carnival by throwing their entire wallet at the booth. And I disappeared. The man who used to put his hand on my belly and tell me how excited he was, he barely asked how I was feeling anymore. Everything became about Ava, what she wanted for dinner, what homework she needed help with, what show she wanted to watch. I brought it up once, gently, said I felt like maybe the baby and I were being put on the back burner. He told me I was being selfish, that Ava had been through a lot and needed time to adjust. I bit my tongue, but it stung. Every night, she'd climb into bed with us, claiming she was scared. We'd already made her a beautiful room, she had everything she could need, but she wouldn't sleep there. And because I'm the one who's pregnant and need rest, I ended up on the couch more times than I care to admit. I can't count how many nights I've sat there with a pillow behind my back, staring at the ceiling, wondering what happened to the man I married, to the life we were building. I feel like a ghost in my own home. 2 weeks ago, I was glowing. Now I'm just exhausted, and every time I try to talk about it, I feel like I'm the bad guy. Like there's something wrong with me for not adjusting faster, for not embracing this instant family dynamic with open arms and a Pinterest-worthy smile. But I didn't sign up for this. And I'm starting to worry that I'm the only one who remembers we're supposed to be having a baby. It's amazing how fast things can unravel when no one notices you're coming undone. My husband used to notice everything. The way I liked lemon in my water, how my ankles would swell a little after walking too long, how certain songs made me tear up without warning. Now he doesn't even notice when I leave the room, or when I come back. The other night I made a full dinner, grilled salmon, roasted potatoes, fresh green beans. I'd been craving it all day. I put effort into it, too, even set the table and lit a candle just to try and bring back some normalcy. Ava walked in, glanced at the food, and said, "Ew, can I just have chicken nuggets?" Before I could say a word, my husband stood up, grabbed his keys, and said, I'll run out and get some. Like I didn't just spend an hour cooking. He came back with nuggets, fries, and a milkshake. She smiled, hugged him, and turned on the TV like she hadn't just insulted our entire meal. I stared at my plate, trying to find an appetite. When I finally did say something small, like, "Hey, maybe next time we could encourage her to try what's on the table," he looked at me like I'd kicked a puppy. "She's just adjusting," he said. Adjusting. That word again. It's been the theme of our household. I'm supposed to understand. I'm supposed to be the bigger person. I'm supposed to sacrifice. But no one's adjusting for me. The baby books are gathering dust. The nursery plans are paused. He still hasn't put the crib together. I asked if he'd read the article I sent about choosing a pediatrician, and he just muttered something about being too tired. Too tired. He used to be so present. Now I feel like I'm in this alone. Ava's presence is like a spotlight that pushes everything else into the shadows. And I get it, she's his daughter. He's missed years of her life. But does that mean he has to miss this one too? I keep telling myself she's just a kid, that it's not her fault. But she makes it so hard to connect. The day after the chicken nugget incident, I tried again. I invited her to help me pick out a baby outfit online. Thought maybe it would give her a sense of inclusion. She stared at the screen for 2 minutes before saying, "It's just a baby. Who cares?" I blinked. "I care," I said softly. She shrugged and walked away. That night, my husband showed her how to make paper airplanes while I sat in the bedroom alone, watching the ceiling fan spin and listening to the sound of their laughter echo down the hallway. When he finally came in, I asked him, "Are we still doing this together? Or am I just the woman carrying your baby while you catch up on fatherhood?" He didn't get angry. That's the thing, he just looked disappointed, like I'd let him down somehow. "She's been through a lot," he said, again. "She's trying." I wanted to scream. "I'm trying too." But I didn't scream. I just nodded and turned off the lamp. The silence between us now feels louder than any argument. It's in the way he turns toward Ava instead of me. In the way he doesn't reach for my hand anymore. In the way I don't tell him when the baby kicks because I'm afraid he'll barely react. Ava's not cruel. She's not evil. But she's never been taught how to respect boundaries. She walks into rooms without knocking, takes things off my desk without asking, talks over me at dinner like I'm not there. She doesn't do it maliciously, she just does it because no one stops her. And when I do try to gently correct her, I get labeled the bad guy. Last weekend I found my favorite notebook in the trash. The one where I've been journaling little moments of the pregnancy, how I felt when I heard the heartbeat, what names I've been considering, notes I wanted to share with the baby someday. It was torn, crumpled, and smeared with something sticky. When I asked Ava if she'd touched it, she just said, "It was dumb anyway." And my husband? He gave her a soft warning and asked me why I left it out where she could find it. That was the moment I realized, I don't feel safe here. Not in the "I'm in danger" way, but in the "no one is protecting me" way. In the "I'm alone in a house full of people" way. And I hate how that sounds. I hate how it feels, because I used to feel so loved in this space. I told my sister. She said maybe I'm being too sensitive, that it's just part of becoming a parent. But this doesn't feel like parenthood, it feels like erasure. And I'm scared that by the time this baby is born, there won't be anything left of the woman who used to be so excited to be a mom. The guest room turned nursery turned Ava's bedroom still has the faint smell of baby powder from before we cleared it out. Sometimes I walk past it and wonder how it all flipped so fast. The walls were going to be a soft green. I had picked out little framed animal prints, an elephant, a bear, a fox. The kind of quiet, cozy room you imagine rocking your newborn to sleep in. Now it's covered in unicorn posters and glitter stickers. And I don't dare step inside anymore unless I absolutely have to. Every time I think I'm adjusting, Ava does something that knocks the air out of me. She's not mean in the way kids are in movies. There's no screaming tantrums or slammed doors. It's more subtle. It's little sighs when I walk into the room. It's how she rolls her eyes when I try to speak to her. It's the way she calls my husband daddy and looks me straight in the eye when she says it, like she's daring me to say it back. And maybe that's the thing that cuts the deepest. I don't have that word yet. I'm still pregnant. My child hasn't had the chance to say mama. And lately, I'm terrified that when the baby does come, my husband won't even notice. Because right now, he doesn't see me. Not really. It's not even about the big things. It's the fact that I asked him to hang a shelf in the kitchen, something he promised to do a month ago, but it's still leaning against the wall. Meanwhile, Ava asked for glow-in-the-dark stars for her ceiling, and he drove out that same day to buy them. Spent 2 hours helping her tape them up, telling her stories about constellations while she giggled and asked if she could sleep in our room again. Spoiler, she did. I slept on the couch. Again. He says it's temporary, that she's scared, that it'll pass. But it doesn't feel temporary. It feels like my life got hijacked, and I'm not even allowed to be upset about it. There's this unspoken rule in our house now. Don't criticize Ava, don't push back, don't rock the boat. I feel like a roommate. No, worse. I feel like the help. Last Thursday, I got home from my OB appointment. It was a big one. I heard the heartbeat again, strong and steady. I was smiling the whole drive home, hand on my belly, feeling like maybe things were okay. I walked in, excited to share it with him, and found him in the living room helping Ava with a school project. I waited until there was a break in their conversation and said, "The baby's heartbeat was perfect today." He looked up, said, "That's great, babe," and turned right back to gluing popsicle sticks to a cardboard volcano. I stood there for a full minute before just walking away. No follow-up question. No, did they give us a new sonogram? Nothing. I ended up sitting on the edge of the bathtub crying quietly because I didn't want to make it about me. That's the thing people keep telling me. She's just a kid. It's not about you. She needs time. But when is it ever about me? I used to have this picture in my head of what pregnancy would look like: lazy Sunday mornings with pancakes and baby name debates, folding tiny onesies together, choosing strollers and cribs like a team. Now I feel like I'm asking permission just to be included in my own future. I tried talking to him again. I sat him down after Ava went to bed and told him, really told him, how I was feeling. I didn't accuse. I didn't raise my voice. I just said I felt left behind. Like everything we'd planned together was fading into the background and I wasn't sure how much longer I could do this on my own. He sighed, a long, tired, guilt-soaked sigh. And he said, "I just want to make things right with Ava. I missed so much." I get that. I do. But does he really have to lose me to make up for losing her? Because that's what it feels like. I asked him, what happens when the baby's born? What if Ava still needs all of you, all the time? He didn't answer. And in that silence, I think I finally understood something I didn't want to admit. Ava didn't just show up with a backpack. She came with a history, a broken bond, a father desperate to prove he's still worth loving. And I'm standing in the middle of all of it, slowly vanishing. It's strange how silence can be so loud. I used to wake up to the sound of my husband humming in the kitchen, frying eggs or flipping pancakes just because he liked spoiling me a little. Now I wake up to Ava's cartoons playing at full volume, and him laughing along with her while I shuffle out of the bedroom, clutching my belly and trying not to feel like a guest in my own home. Some mornings, he doesn't even greet me, just tosses a distracted hey over his shoulder while Ava asks if she can have waffles instead of cereal. And of course, she always gets the waffles. I used to think that when you're carrying someone's child, they'd treat you like something sacred. But lately, I just feel optional. I tried to talk to him again last night. I waited until Ava was asleep, finally in her own bed for once. We were folding laundry, and I asked him point blank, "Do you even want to be a father to this baby?" He blinked like I slapped him. "Of course I do," he said, frowning, "because it doesn't feel like it." He dropped the shirt he was folding. "What's that supposed to mean?" And I let it out. Not the anger, not the bitterness, just the exhaustion. I can't keep doing this alone. I can't keep watching you bend over backwards for one child while ignoring the one that hasn't even had a chance to be born yet. He rubbed his face like he was trying to wake up from a bad dream. "You don't get it," he said quietly. "I missed everything with Ava. I missed her first words, her first steps, her first birthday. I wasn't there. I couldn't be. And now I finally have a chance to be present." "And what about this baby?" I asked. "Do they not deserve a present parent too?" He didn't answer right away. And I think that silence hurt more than anything he could have said. Then he said, "I'm doing the best I can." And maybe he thinks he is, but his best doesn't include me anymore. After that conversation, we both just went to bed. No resolution, no hand on my belly, no kiss on the forehead like he used to do. Just two people lying next to each other, with a whole universe of space between us. This morning, Ava left her cereal bowl out on the floor. Again, I asked her to pick it up. She rolled her eyes and muttered something under her breath. I didn't even ask what. I just cleaned it up. I feel like I'm constantly cleaning up things that aren't mine, messes, moods, feelings. It's like everyone in this house gets to fall apart except me. And I'm tired, so tired. I called my mom today. I hadn't talked to her in a couple weeks because, honestly, I didn't want to explain how badly things were going. She could hear it in my voice right away. "What's wrong, honey?" And I broke. Right there in the middle of the living room, while Ava was in the other room watching TV and my husband was running errands. I told her everything, that I didn't feel seen, that I was scared of resenting the baby before it's even born because I'm doing all of this by myself while watching him pour everything into a relationship with a child who doesn't even want me around. She was quiet for a second. Then she said, "I love you. But you need to ask yourself something." "What? Do you want to keep raising two children alone?" Or do you want a partner? I haven't been able to stop thinking about that. Because right now, I'm already raising one child by myself, and they haven't even been born yet. I didn't even want a baby shower. Not really, not with how things were going, but my sister insisted. She said I needed something to look forward to, that maybe being celebrated, really celebrated, would lift my spirits. I didn't argue. I was too tired to protest. It was a small event, held at her place. Balloons, cupcakes, a diaper cake in the middle of the table, all the right touches. She even got my favorite sparkling lemonade and tiny sandwiches with the crusts cut off. People came, people smiled, people hugged me, and for the first time in a while, I felt like someone saw me. I sat there in my little chair with a ribbon that said Mom-to-be, opening gifts wrapped in pastel paper, onesies, bibs, a baby monitor, tiny socks that could fit in the palm of my hand. I laughed. I cried. I felt hopeful for the first time in weeks, until I checked my phone. There were 10 missed calls from my husband, and one text. Ava's upset. She says you didn't invite her. I just stared at it. This day, my day, he found a way to center her again. She wasn't even supposed to come. She had a birthday party for one of her classmates, and we both agreed she'd go to that. But now, suddenly my baby shower wasn't about me anymore. I didn't respond. I couldn't. After the last guest left, I stayed behind to help my sister clean up. I didn't want to go home. The thought of walking through that door and finding him in full damage control mode over something I didn't even do, it made me want to scream. When I finally did get back, he was sitting on the couch, arms crossed. Ava was in her room, door closed, likely pouting. She cried, he said before I even took my shoes off. She thought she was part of this too. I didn't say anything. I mean, she is part of the family, he added. She should have been there. That's when I snapped, not yelling, not screaming, just broke open. I'm the one carrying this child. I'm the one who hasn't slept through the night in months. I'm the one who's been sidelined in her own pregnancy. And now I'm not allowed one afternoon to feel happy without her approval? He didn't answer. I've tried, I whispered. I've tried so hard to make this work. But I can't keep being the afterthought in a story I'm supposed to be starring in. That night, he slept in Ava's room. He said it was to help her feel better, but we both knew it was because he didn't want to deal with me. I lay in our bed alone, surrounded by folded baby clothes and unopened gift bags, wondering when I became the guest in my own life. The next morning, he acted like nothing had happened, made coffee, asked what time my next appointment was, like he hadn't just spent the night emotionally choosing someone else over me. Again, I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized something I hadn't let myself admit before. He's not doing this out of cruelty, he's doing it out of guilt. He's parenting Ava with everything he has because he thinks he failed her before, and maybe he did, but the way he's making up for it now, he's failing us. I don't know what to do next. I'm not ready to leave. I'm not ready to stay. I'm not ready to give up, but I'm also not ready to keep losing myself every day in this house where everything revolves around everyone but me. I thought this baby would bring us closer. Instead, I feel more alone than ever. There's a different kind of loneliness that comes when you're surrounded by people. When there's noise in the house, chatter in the kitchen, a child running around with glitter glue on her hands, and still, no one notices you're crumbling. That's where I am now, floating in a house full of sound, but feeling invisible. This morning, I caught my reflection in the mirror and barely recognized myself. Puffy eyes, hair thrown into a careless bun, a shirt with a stain from something I don't remember eating. I looked gray, just tired and gray. I used to take such care with myself, not out of vanity, just pride. Now, I'm brushing my teeth at noon and skipping meals because I don't have the energy to argue about what to cook. Ava doesn't hide how she feels about me. If I walk into a room, she walks out. If I speak, she sighs. If I try to include her in anything, picking out baby toys, asking if she wants to help fold little clothes, she gives me a blank stare or a flat no. The other day I was singing softly while doing dishes, a nursery song I'd heard on a baby playlist. Ava walked in, scrunched her face, and said, "You sound weird," and I just nodded, because it wasn't even worth it. Later, I told my husband, not to stir drama, just to share how I felt. He chuckled. "She's just a kid," he said. "Don't take everything so personally." I don't think he even realized how cruel that sounded. Personally, I'm 6 months pregnant, hormonal, exhausted, carrying the future he claims to care about, and being slowly erased in my own home. But sure, I'll stop being so sensitive. There are moments that haunt me more than they should. Like last week, when I went grocery shopping alone. Normally, it'd be a chore, but it felt like a vacation. I walked slowly down the aisles, picking out snacks the baby might like someday. For a moment, I let myself smile. Then I realized I was stalling. I didn't want to go home. That crushed me. When I did get home, they were watching a movie. My spot on the couch was taken. Ava was curled up under his arm, holding the popcorn. I said hi, and he smiled like I'd just come back from a 5-minute errand. Not like I was a woman who hadn't been seen in days. Later that night, he told me I was being distant. The irony was laughable. Maybe if you tried harder with Ava, he added, as if I hadn't already bent myself backward in every possible way. I didn't respond. What was the point? The only thing that seems to calm me now is the baby kicking. It's like a little reminder from the universe. I'm still here. We're still connected. Keep going. I've started sleeping in the nursery again. The one that used to be hers, before she showed up with her backpack and turned everything upside down. There's no crib yet. Just a pile of folded clothes, a few unopened boxes, and a rocking chair I got on sale. I sit in it at night, rubbing my belly in the dark, whispering things I'm too afraid to say out loud. I tell the baby I'm sorry, that I wanted better, that I'm trying, because I am. I'm trying to be the bigger person, the patient one, the understanding stepmother and glowing pregnant wife, but all I feel is smaller by the day. A few nights ago, I dreamed I gave birth and no one noticed. I was in a room, holding this tiny, perfect baby, and people were walking in and out, talking over me, laughing, planning dinner, and I just sat there, invisible again. I woke up sobbing. I don't know if it's the hormones or the silence or the weight of all the things I can't say, but lately I've been thinking about escape, not in a dramatic way, just space, time, a pause. Maybe I go stay with my sister for a weekend. Maybe I check into one of those quiet bed and breakfasts near the lake and breathe again. I don't want to abandon anyone. I just want to feel like I matter, like someone would notice if I left the room. I didn't plan on leaving that morning. I'd woken up early, before the sun, before anyone else was stirring. I padded into the kitchen, made myself a cup of tea, and sat in the nursery, just me and the soft creak of the rocking chair. The baby was kicking gently, not the wild thumps it usually gave when Ava stomped through the hallway yelling for more cartoons. Just quiet nudges, like little reassurances. I stared at the blank walls, the unopened boxes of furniture, the folded clothes I'd been slowly collecting. It should have felt like a beginning. Instead, it felt like a waiting room I'd been stuck in too long. He came in around 9 a.m., rubbing his eyes, yawning. She kept me up all night, he said. I think she's coming down with something. I nodded. No good morning. No, how are you feeling? Just more of the same. We hadn't really spoken since the baby shower. Not beyond logistics. Who's picking up what? What's for dinner? Did you pay the power bill? The emotional distance had stretched so wide between us I think we both forgot how to cross it. He left to take Ava to the pediatrician. I told him I was staying home to rest. That was the first lie. The second lie was when I told myself I wasn't really leaving, but by noon, I had packed a bag, just the essentials, some maternity clothes, my prenatal vitamins, the baby's first ultrasound photo, my journal, a couple books I hadn't had the energy to read. I left the crib boxes untouched. I didn't leave a dramatic note, just a text. I need space. I'm safe. The baby's okay. I'll be with my sister. Please don't call me for a day or two. I sat in my car for a long time before pulling out of the driveway. I watched the front door, half expecting him to burst out, beg me to stay, apologize for everything. But the house stayed still, silent. Driving to my sister's felt like exhaling for the first time in months. When she opened the door and saw my face, she didn't ask questions. She just pulled me into a hug, her hand already reaching to touch my belly. You did the brave thing, she whispered. I didn't feel brave. I felt broken, but also light, like I'd been carrying something far heavier than pregnancy, and finally set it down. Later that night, I lay in her guest room listening to the quiet. No TV blaring, no footsteps running down the hall, no subtle comments, no tension in the air, just the soft, steady rhythm of my breathing, and a baby kicking in response, like they felt it too. And for the first time in a long time, I cried not because I was overwhelmed or hurt or invisible, but because I knew I was doing what I had to do. I'm not saying it's over between us. I'm not saying it's not. But I know this. I want to bring this child into a world where they feel wanted, prioritized, loved, where I feel those things too. And I can't do that from the sidelines of my own life. He hasn't responded to my message yet. I'm sure he will. But now, for once, I'm not waiting on him. I'm just holding my belly, planning a future that doesn't depend on being seen by anyone but the person growing inside me. They see me, and that's enough, for now.